Hello and welcome to the 21st video of the Project Sovereign series. In this video, I'll finish the Sovereign's impulse engines. Still lots of work to do, so let's get started. So first I'd like to apologize. I know this video is supposed to be about refining the impulse engines, and I was testing out methods to use to do this because it's got some tricky stuff going on here. It's got this sort of curved lip coming over. It's got this edge down here. And it's also got a bit more. Maybe I could show doing this because I didn't actually make this now that I'm looking at it. But I realized that I skipped over most of the refinement because I was testing out methods of doing it before I knew it. I had a nice looking finished product. So I'm thinking about starting to do this live. Just let me know what you think about that. I think it might be a good idea to just do like live modeling sessions and then do a recap. Still experimenting with this whole thing, but at any rate, I got my impulse engine done. I'm gonna take one more look at this. It looks like there's another, like maybe this goes down further. I wish I had some better angles of this, but I haven't really found really great reference. So let me take a look at the model. Yeah, this could probably go down a bit further, so at least I can show that. But I mean, it is really basic. Really basic sculpting, just adding edge loops and pulling vertices until they made sense with the shape that I saw. So, actually, I'm just going to shrink this. Is that going to work? Yep. Okay, cool. So I could just, let's see, actually, I'm going to grow that a bit. There we go. Make this a little bit deeper. Nothing crazy. Kind of like that. I think that's going to be all right. And there's also some other stuff I need to do too, which I can show. Let me take a look at that again. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. And, I mean, I'm still in turbo smooth mode, so I can always adjust this. So let's that. There's also this kind of lip thing here, which I can make for you now. It's just this little piece right here. This will be pretty simple, he says. Famous last words. Just like that. Let me select these. I think that'll do it. Check that again. Oh, I know what I need to do. Just to make this a bit more triangular. And it will also help out this edge too. Make it a bit crispier. It's a win-win. Move this over with my edge constraints on, so I don't disturb the shape. Do the same thing here. Oop. Like that. Make sure I got nothing else selected that I don't want. Oh, looking good. Move this like that. There we go. And same thing here. See, this is the kind of thing I don't know if you want to see it or not, but I figured since this is about refining the impulse engines, I'll show this step at the very least. That. Check and see. Nope, that's it. Okay, so this is gonna, I guess I can go like that. Oop. All right. Cool. Okay, and I will hinge from edge. Pick an edge, which will be this guy. Whoop. Looks like I had some. Yep, that's funny. That's why it looks so crazy. Hinge from edge. It's okay. I can always sculpt this out. Doesn't matter. That. I prefer to do this by hand anyway. Gives me a bit more control. Like that. I know I'm going to have to add some edge loops too. Let's see what happens. Add one down here. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to add some, yeah, there and there. Like this. This has some like weird edge flow. I did something when I made this shape, but I'm not terribly concerned about it. All right, so I'm gonna have to fix all this up. So I'm gonna continue to sculpt on this and just kind of work it out, and I will be back soon. So I just ended up extruding. I didn't bother hinging from edge because it was creating too many problems here. And just sculpting the vertices to where they need it to be, which is a recurring theme with this model. Just some edge loop refinement. I got rid of, there was a loop here coming back, and I got rid of it because it was causing pinching. It was coming all the way around here. It was causing that pinching you saw earlier. So I just deleted it and fixed some of the topology so it would work better. But you can see the result is pretty good. So just this little lip. I love these little details. Just this little lip. Just like on here. Gonna have to remember the strip of color when creating the decals, but that's way down the road. So this modeling is pretty much done. But now is the moment of truth. Remember in an earlier, much earlier video when I was working on the top of the saucer, this was far too indented. I even mentioned in the last video, this is too indented to just sit on the surface of the saucer. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. There we go. So see that? How the saucer just cuts right through, but that's all right because we're just going to cut a hole in the saucer so that this is going to shine through. So let's do that, shall we? Just going to make a line. I'll draw it out here. Corner, corner. Doesn't really matter if it's accurate yet. So I imagine this might have been what they did at ILM too. I just want to get it. So it's like this. Hopefully I can do this with just a straight line, but maybe not. No, it looks like I'm going to have to bend it, creating unwanted geometry, but what are you going to do? Okay, just like that. Change these to Bezier corner. Like so. Like this, and like this. And I can even make the interpolation really low. Yeah, 6 is fine, 6 steps. So it's only going to cut into the saucer where I want it to. Okay, I think that's going to work. Let's give it a shot. So extrude. Like that. Get rid of the impulse engines because they'll just get in the way. Figuratively speaking, of course. I don't want to delete them. And like this. Okay, and although I'm cutting a hole right through the saucer, I still don't want to do just a regular Boolean because it'll mess up the topology, or geometry, I should say. And I would definitely want to keep that. I'll do Holden, yes. Just in case I want to come back here. It's compound objects. Put Boolean, start picking imprint. Oh, that didn't work. All right, I think there's a problem. Yeah, the whole thing disappeared. So I'm going to suss this out, but I'll be back with the cutout hole. So that was simple enough. I don't think it liked that the piece was completely bisecting the saucer. So I just moved it up and I Booleaned it. You can see it cut out right here. And this is really what I want. So I'm going to select... We'll convert this to editable poly. I'm going to have to delete each of these. But we're getting closer. Looking forward to seeing what this is going to look like sitting where it should be. So it's just going to select all these. And I'll be back soon. I've cut out the holes, so you see we have these really ugly, nasty holes in our mesh, but that's okay because they're going to be covered up. Hopefully, here comes the moment of truth. Unhide all. And there we go. Yep. So now you see this sits in nicely. It's nicely inset. Gives us a much more realistic view of the impulse engine. So now all I need to do is select my polygons that I want to color. Hopefully this will be, I think that'll be good. And this is just a placeholder for now. Just my dark gray material. Help it stand out a little bit. I like to do this as I build models. There we go. Now as for the grills and the engines, I think this is going to be a texture. I don't think I'm going to model this just because there's really no dimension to them. So it would just make things needlessly complicated and difficult. So I'm going to save this for the texturing phase. Maybe if I was building a higher detailed model, but it's not going to be that detailed. You can see we're this close to the model in this image, and there's still no edges visible to these. So I'm just going to make it a decal. So all that's really left to do is making these little hatches. I guess they're access hatches at the bottom. There's other references available from the Christie's shots that I'm going to use too, but this will serve as a pretty good guide. And it's going to be, again, just the basic armor plating technique that I've shown before because this is a pretty flat surface. So it'll just be building and extruding these, which I won't show again because, again, I've shown it many times before. And then these will be finished, and we'll get to move on to the next part of the ship. Armor plating is finished. Just basic editable poly that I just molded to fit the shape. Again, nothing terribly interesting, but does the job. And of course, because I couldn't resist, it might be too early for this in this stage of the project, but I don't really care. I'm going to lower this a bit. Yeah, I just had to see what it looked like lit up. Let me lower that exposure a bit more. Just always fun to see what these things would look like. I'm probably going to just replace this because it's too distracting and weird to model with the material like this, but these impulse engines are done, at least from a modeling perspective. Apart from the grills that I'm going to texture, other texturing should be pretty light. Again, that band of color that I pointed out before. Maybe there's some extra detail going on in these plates. But otherwise, moving swiftly through the course. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do the back of the saucer or begin this engineering part. Maybe both for the next video. That might be a bit much, but I need to think about what I'm going to do next in this project. But yeah, moving right along. Just keep on modeling and modeling until there's nothing left to model. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon.